We kick off the weekend with a WRAL Weather Alert Day. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Chris Lemiga. Thank you so much for joining us here. We do have meteorologist Amy Wilman to kind of walk us through why there is another WRAL Weather Alert Day, including some severe threats.
That's right. We have the chance for some dangerous heat, especially in southern counties where the heat index approaches 105. But everyone has a chance for some scattered storms. We do have a level 1 severe risk today. The biggest threat would be some strong damaging wind gusts. Everyone included in the level 1 risk today. And most of these are going to come late this afternoon and this evening. For now, things are very quiet across North Carolina with all of the rain really west. It's just starting to move into the North Carolina mountains. But the timeline for today, so western counties 3 to 5 is when the showers and storms are likely to arrive. And the triangle from Durham back down to Raleigh, Lillington, Fayetteville, anywhere from 4 to 6 p.m. So right during the evening commute. And then eastern communities not until about 6 to 8 o'clock this evening. So it's late in the day. We do have a heat advisory for southern counties. It does include Hope County, Cumberland County, Sampson County. That's where the heat index gets up to about 105 this afternoon. This is a live look at the WRAL Gardens. Beautiful out there right now, but it is very warm and very muggy. It's 91 right now in Raleigh. The heat index is 95. It feels like 102 in Clinton, so already feeling like 100s down in some of our southern communities. Highs today are in the upper 90s and maybe even 100 in Fayetteville, 96 in Durham, 97 in Raleigh today. Coming up in just a little bit, we're going to talk about more of a cold front that's coming that brings us some storms this weekend, and then temperatures finally drop. I'll show you when we're back in the 80s for highs.
Amy, thank you. Breaking news. Hundreds of thousands of state employees and retirees are expected to face higher health insurance costs. The State Health Plan Board just voted to raise premiums. WRAL state government reporter Caroline Yaffa joins us live outside the meeting room. Caroline, can you explain the decision, but then also talk about why another policy approved today could save members money overall?
Yes, Renee, we're going to get into all of this because this rate increase could affect most of the 750,000 state employees, retirees, and their families that are currently on this state health plan. So here's a breakdown of everything we know. The board voted to raise monthly premiums 5% beginning in 2027. So for many, that'll mean an extra $2 to $8 a month. But it also approved a new preferred provider program. The program could help save members money in the long run, but some might have to change doctors.
When our preferred provider plan works, our members choose those preferred providers, they will pay 2012 out-of-pocket prices for their health care.
Here in central North Carolina, UNC Health would be a preferred provider. People on the plan who use UNC Health would pay lower deductibles and lower out-of-pocket costs. So people whose doctors aren't part of that preferred provider, they're going to see those biggest changes, and they could be forced to pay hundreds of thousands of more dollars unless they switch to that preferred provider, and their cost could get lower before or when the program gets into place in 2027. Caroline Yaffa, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
And the health plan is trying to close a budget gap in hundreds of millions of dollars. State leaders say the higher premiums and this new preferred provider system should stabilize it in the coming years. Leaders are expected to vote later this afternoon on other items that could impact you. For updates, head to WRAL.com. President Trump says he will not sign the bipartisan housing reform package. The president refused to sign the measure last month after demanding that his election reform law be sent to his desk alongside it. The housing bill can still become law overnight without the president's signature. If Trump vetoes it, Congress could attempt to override the veto for the measure to become law.
Well, it has been 2 weeks since a Fort Bragg soldier, Army Specialist Savion Anderson, disappeared, and his family has not heard from him since June 27th. And his mother is desperate to find out what happened to her son. We have Ken Smith here to talk more about this. Ken, this mother is agonizing over her missing son, who recently got married and has a pregnant wife.
You're absolutely right. And Savion Anderson's mom, Pamela, lives in Charlottesville, Virginia, but recently drove to Fayetteville to find out exactly what happened to her son. Anderson says this Monday will make 2 weeks since her son was last seen on Fort Bragg. He's a specialist assigned to the 8th Ordnance Company. Anderson says when she drove to her son's Fayetteville apartment earlier this week and police searched it, there was no sign of him. She says she has not heard from her son since June 29th. That's the day her son's command reached out to her asking if she'd seen him. He had not been showing up for formation. Anderson says she is besides herself, wondering what happened to her son. She says the silence is heartbreaking.
I miss you so much, Chocolate Man. Such a beautiful person. I just want you to come home safe.
Well, we should know that Anderson has been in trouble with the law in recent months. His mom says she's been calling her son's cell phone every morning, praying that he would answer. So far, nothing. Anderson's Fort Bragg command telling WRAL it's working with local law enforcement to locate him. Anderson says her daughter-in-law is due to give birth to the couple's first child in August. Of course, you can count on WRAL to keep you updated on the search for 25-year-old Savion Anderson.
We're certainly trying to get some answers in the story. Thank you, Ken. The parents of Nolan Wells are calling for a transparent investigation into the mysterious death of their son. The body of the 18-year-old student athlete was recovered on July 6th after a 4th of July boating trip. Well, this morning, during a news interview, the Wansleys cast doubt on claims by friends that Wells decided to stay behind on an island off the coast of Mississippi while his friends left. And the sheriff of Jackson County there is urging patience as investigators look into what he calls a, quote, substantial amount of tips.
Raleigh police are investigating a crash involving a man on a scooter. Sky 5 flew over the crash scene at New Bern Avenue and Columbia River Lane. Police say a man who was riding on a scooter was hit by a vehicle. He was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. No word on the victim's condition or whether charges will be filed. 3 people are hurt after 3 separate shootings in Durham overnight. Police first responded to Drew Street at 10:46 p.m. Another shooting happened on NC 54 just before midnight, and then a third happened over on Rigsby Avenue after 2:20 in the morning. Police say 1 person was hurt in each shooting, 2 men and a woman. No word on any arrests. Crews in Durham worked this morning to fix a large water main break. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker was on Radcliffe Circle off Revere Road just after 4:30 this morning. Water was spraying 30 feet into the air. It took the crews about 90 minutes to get that water turned off. No word on what caused the break or how many water customers may be affected.
North Carolina drivers are again looking at higher gas prices, and the prices are going up quickly as a result of the ceasefire ending between the U.S. and Iran. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey reports that just when we were getting started to get some relief, prices are on the way up again.
Gas prices up 12 cents in the last 2 days as the war on Iran escalates again. Gas at this gas station here in Cary, $3.84 a gallon if you're paying with card today. Now take a look at the roller coaster of gas prices we've seen since the war began. Gas was averaging $2.76 a gallon on March 2nd, just a few days after the war started. Then it went up to $4.22 a gallon in May. Just 2 days ago, on July 8th, gas was down to $3.49 a gallon. Now prices are rising again. Gas prices often rise more quickly than they fall. And economists say that's because drivers pay less attention when gas prices are going down, so stations are under less pressure to cut costs. We spoke with one driver who says he's selling his Ford Expedition that's already paid off to buy another used car with better gas mileage.
I'm about to get rid of this truck, actually, since we're talking about it, because the pump is ridiculous. It was about $120 a tank.
Wow. So you, at one point, you were paying $120 a tank?
$120 a tank, about $500 a month.
To find the lowest gas prices anywhere, head to WRAL.com and search fuel. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Cary.
Certainly interesting math there. Well, you can use the fuel tracker on the WRAL News app to find the lowest cost of gas wherever you go. Just search the word fuel.
Happening now here in the WRAL Live Center, Kia America has issued a new recall. We're talking for about 463,000 of its Telluride SUVs, urging owners now to again park their vehicles outside and away from buildings after several customers reported fires following previous repairs. Now, the recall announced this week replaces a prior one that Kia initiated in 2024. Certain Tellurides from 2020 to 2024 model years are affected with the warning that the front power seat motor of these vehicles may overheat due to a stuck slide knob. They're going to be sending out more notices beginning August 13th about this issue.
You could win a blue ribbon at this year's North Carolina State Fair. Registration is now open for this year's competitions, which includes a few new categories. This year's fair features several new competitions, including outdoor painting, paper flowers, and wreath making. Information on how to enter these competitions can be found on the State Fair's website, ncstatefair.org. Click the competitions tab. The deadline to enter is coming up September 15th, and the North Carolina State Fair will run October 15th through the 25th.
Should be fun. Well, next at noon, USPS worker deaths. 4 employees are dead in Atlanta, and their surviving colleagues demand answers. What the union is saying is a problem when it comes to emergencies there.
Jellyfish and shark threat. What you can do to keep yourself safe at the beach during a reported increase of these creatures in the ocean.
And mental health and heat. How higher temperatures can take a toll on your mind.
Coming up next, sea storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000. Sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
Happening now here in the WRAL Live Center, NASCAR has announced a Celebration of Life event will take place at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. This is for, of course, the late NASCAR champion Kyle Busch. His Celebration of Life will take place on Friday, October 19th. The Post says, forever remembered, forever celebrated. Busch died suddenly on May 21st at the age of 41 due to complications from bacterial pneumonia that rapidly progressed into sepsis.
The 2026 midterm campaigns will start heating up this summer. New polling shows some voters are worried about the potential for violence. A Catawba College poll finds 2/3 of North Carolinians say they expect to see politically motivated violence this year. Another finding, some voters want their side to lean into the violence. 1 in every 4 or 5 voters told pollsters that if their side's candidate refused to condemn violence against an opponent, that would actually make them support the candidate more.
Well, officials in Aiken County, South Carolina say it's unlikely that all of the remains of 4-year-old Javea Harris will be recovered. Investigators say that her parents used corrosive chemicals to destroy the evidence there. And DNA tests confirm that recovered remains that were consistent with the 4-year-old. According to investigators, the couple will face additional charges for destruction and desecration of human remains. 4 U.S. postal workers have died at a processing distribution center, and this was in Atlanta in the past 2 years. Well, now union workers are calling for safety upgrades. The union is demanding answers on how to prevent more deaths. Union officials say that some employees have not been properly trained on how to deal with potential emergencies. They also say workers inside the building are not able to place direct calls to 911.
They have no emergency action plan. That when the ambulance come here, they don't even know where to go in a 1 million square foot facility.
The union also says changes are needed, including fixing cell phone dead zones and ensuring trained emergency response personnel are on hand for every single shift.
Let's give you a live look now at Carolina Beach, a very popular spot, as you can see from all the Shibumi shades out there during the dog days of summer. As Americans hit beaches across the country, there's a new warning about increased shark and jellyfish sightings. NBC's Sam Brock explains how to stay safe before you head to the beach.
The lifeguard called everyone in because he spotted a bunch of sharks.
This morning, fresh worries about sharks from South Carolina to New York to Texas, taking a bite out of summer fun.
It's a pretty common thing, so it's...
So to save money, many families shop at outlet malls, right? But are you really getting a discount when you shop at an outlet or a factory store? Jen Sullivan talks to a fashion expert who recently went undercover to learn the truth behind the labels.
Outlet malls promise shoppers big discounts and sales, but are you really getting a bargain?
It's not presumably the same level of quality that you're getting at the regular mall store or at the regular department stores.
Jennifer Barger is a fashion expert with the nonprofit Consumers Checkbook. Their team spent months surveying products at various outlet stores and comparing them to products at the main store.
About half of the brands were selling or creating stuff just for their outlets. Nothing there ever appeared in the regular store.
She says that cheaper price often coincides with products made with lower cost materials and sometimes fewer fine details among many mid-level clothing brands. And the proof is on the label.
The one that you would get at the outlet would be maybe a viscose or other material blend with linen.
Some brands even have specific labels just for their outlet stores, so look at that too. Outlet stores will often have price tags with an MSRP on it, which stands for manufactured suggested retail price, which is often the suggested price for the higher quality merchandise made for the main stores. But it makes you think you're getting a bargain.
It really was probably made to cost exactly what the label said.
Okay, so here's where you can find a deal. Luxury brands often do sell items that were once in the regular stores. Just make sure that you talk to the sales rep. And outlet furniture stores often sell floor models and items that have slight wear and tear at a big discount.
Several media organizations claim OpenAI and its partner Microsoft built their AI technologies by using millions of copyrighted news articles. Now they want a judge to impose sanctions. The charge could lead to a landmark copyright infringement trial over whether AI chatbots unfairly compete as an information source and take away news web traffic without doing the journalistic work of news gathering. OpenAI says their process of training their AI systems falls under the fair use doctrine of U.S. copyright law. The Consumer Product Safety Commission is recalling Flaunt MagSafe battery charger power banks due to the risk of serious injury or death from fire and burn hazards. So far, there have been 5 cases of these devices overheating and catching fire. Injuries include a person's hand being burned. In another case, someone's arm was burned. These Flaunt power banks were sold between May of 2024 and April of 2025 for about $65. If you have one, do not throw it in the trash. That's important. Instead, you need to contact a hazardous waste collection center for instructions on proper disposal. Heat and mental health. Prolonged heat exposure can increase the risk of hospitalization for mood disorders. After the break, we'll share ways that you can prevent the high heat from impacting your well-being.
Plus, record viewers. Millions of people are tuning in for this year's FIFA World Cup action. How elite soccer matches are putting up numbers that rival those of NFL playoff games.
And here's a look at your winning North Carolina education lottery numbers.
All right, so here's the deal. Showers and storms could affect your weekend plans.
Meteorologist Amy Wilmoth is here now with an update on where the storms are right now. Amy.
The storms are still not in the viewing area. I'm going to show you the radar in just a moment, but we do have that weather alert day because of the storms and also some dangerous heat in our southern counties. But we're in the clear right now. There's nothing in our area. It's still back to the west and northwest of us. The storms will start to arrive later this afternoon, probably around 3 o'clock or so. We have anywhere from a 40% chance of storms in our southern counties to a 60% chance in our northern counties. So plan for some showers and storms later on today, this afternoon, and this evening. That will be our best opportunity for some of those thunderstorms to move in. So right during the evening commute or while you're headed out to enjoy your Friday night plans. We do have a level 1 severe threat today for everyone, and the biggest risk would be strong damaging winds. On to the heat part of the weather alert day. Check out the heat index values. 106 maybe in Fayetteville and Clinton, 104 in Goldsboro. Southern counties are in a heat advisory, so it is another very hot day out there today. The muggy meter is high today and tomorrow, but look how it crashes early next week. That comes with some cooler temperatures. I'll show you how cooler it will feel next week coming up.
Amy, thank you. Brace yourselves for another round of heat this weekend, as you heard Amy talk about. Those high summer temperatures aren't only potentially harmful to your physical health, extremely hot days can also lead to mental distress. Mandy Gaither explains how heat can harm your mental health.
It's no secret extreme heat puts a strain on the body, but it also burdens the brain.
When we feel hot, we are physically uncomfortable, and it makes it much more difficult to regulate emotions, feel calm, patient, and make decisions.
Psychologist Susan Alberts with Cleveland Clinic says that can make a person feel stressed, irritable, sad, depressed, and anxious.
Heat mimics anxiety. Symptoms such as sweating, racing heart, dizziness. These are common to being overheated and anxious, and your brain can mistake the two.
To halt heat from taking a hit on your mental health, Albert says to first recognize what's happening. If you're feeling irritable or your mood has changed, you may be overheated.
Cool down your body quickly by drinking some cool water or placing a washcloth on your wrist or behind your neck for 60 seconds.
Albert says regulating your body temperature can help you feel calmer. She says to drink cool water throughout the day. Don't wait until you're thirsty. You can also stay hydrated with water-rich foods like frozen grapes, popsicles, or cucumbers. And find ways to get good quality sleep even on hot nights. Take a cool shower before bed. Use fans or blackout curtains.
Anything that is going to help to cool down your bedroom is going to be a game changer for your sleep and your mood during the heat.
The CDC says children, the elderly, and those with pre-existing mental health or other chronic conditions are more vulnerable to the effects of heat.
Laura Levine here in the WRAL Life Center, continuing to follow the latest escalation in the war in Iran. And President Trump with the new comment today on Truth Social. He says the Islamic Republic of Iran has asked us to continue talks. We have agreed to do so, but the United States has stated to them in no uncertain terms that the ceasefire is over. His comments came after 3 Qatari and Saudi commercial tankers came under fire this week, prompting the U.S. to hit Iranian sites, and then Iran responding with their own strikes on U.S. Military installations in neighboring Gulf areas. So the Qatari negotiators, they're planning to meet today in Iran to come up with a way to help de-escalate things between Iran and the U.S. and figure out navigation through the Strait of Hormuz. We'll continue to stay on top of this.
A lot of people watching this very closely. Thank you, Laura. Well, AI is transforming healthcare, and Krista Mayo shares how the technology is doing some heavy lifting for doctors who may find themselves swamped at the office.
The future of healthcare is here. Artificial intelligence is popping up inside doctors' offices all across the country. While some are skeptical about its presence, others are encouraging it.
I think that the information and the technology in AI is going to allow us to provide better care.
For Dr. Chris Dilflitch, AI is easing the note-taking process. He says instead of spending time in the office, now doctors and nurses are able to use the technology to transcribe notes for their patients, which means he gets to spend more valuable time with them and be more attentive.
I always say healthcare is about people taking care of people. And if I can have technology that supports me better to take care of the patients, that's going to be a lot better.
And for people concerned about healthcare workers being replaced by the technology, Dr. DeFlitch says that patients' care has only improved with it, but he maintains it must be a team effort.
It's not going to replace the doctor, but if you don't have the human in it, it can be totally wrong. Using that technology is helpful, but it's only additive to that patient-physician interaction.
AI is also streamlining communications between providers, ultimately making patient treatment more efficient and more effective.
People are using it to more quickly diagnose the potential risk of a stroke inside of an MRI or a CT scan. And what it does is it brings the information back up to the radiologist and to the neurologist and to the emergency physician to say, hey, take a look at this one first. That's where it's going to enhance the care as opposed to replacing it.
Well, a new product that allowed people to use publicly posted Instagram photos to make AI content, it's getting some backlash. Meta unveiled the product called Muse Image. Privacy advocates say that it allows anyone to tag an Instagram user and make AI videos using that user's likeness without that person's consent. So if you use Instagram, you can actually opt out of having your content being used. You have to go to your settings, you have to choose sharing and reuse, and then toggle the Meta AI option to off.
No more beardos. Why the Secretary of Defense is doubling down on restrictions on facial hair for people in the military.
And connecting caregivers. How a documentary being shown in Durham shines a light on caring for loved ones living with Alzheimer's.
Remember, you can watch WRAL News anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app on your streaming device.
Getting you a live look outside right now at Fenton and Cary. We're in the noon hour, and I don't see anybody out there. It's almost like it's ridiculously hot outside. Hey, you're watching WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. Well, it looks like Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is cracking down on beards again. According to the Department of Defense, the secretary saw sailors that had facial hair during a visit on a warship visit last month. In emails, Hegseth then pushed to expedite the restrictions that he unveiled back in September. He argues that beards affect the protective facial equipment. And looks like America's art, it is on the road. The Smithsonian is loaning more than 200 works of art to one museum in every state and Puerto Rico. The 3 to 5 year loans are part of the nation's 250th anniversary celebration. It will include pieces by artists like Georgia O'Keeffe, Andy Warhol, and Yoko Ono. The first loans are expected to arrive by the end of the year.
Sunday's World Cup match between Mexico and England was the most watched soccer game in U.S. history. More than 44 million people tuned in, according to preliminary numbers for Fox and Telemundo. It was the most watched non-NFL telecast on any major television network since 2016. Numbers for round 16 exceeds the estimated 42 million who watched the U.S. match against Belgium on Monday. France is moving on to the semifinals after beating Morocco yesterday in the quarterfinals 2-0. Kylian Mbappe scored France's first goal. He now has 8 goals in the tournament, and it's his 20th World Cup goal in his career. Way to go. And that's just one behind Lionel Messi's all-time record of 21. The game between Spain and Belgium is today at 3 on Fox 50. There will be 2 more quarterfinal games tomorrow. Norway and England play at 5, followed by Argentina and Switzerland at 9. You can watch those games on Fox 50.
The time is 12:41 this afternoon. Finding hope and finding help. One man's commitment to caring for his aging grandmother sparked a movement. How the Mama Joe Project is connecting caregivers and families with resources and support groups.
Lady Liberty, how people are receiving this woman's unique way of spreading kindness. A story of hope and help for families and caregivers navigating dementia. That's the basis of a documentary that's debuting in Durham tomorrow. And there will be a whole vendor fair surrounded by that as well, and making it a whole community event. You can learn more about it by scanning that QR code on your screen. But if you want to hear about it, joining us now is Dr. Delon Canterbury, President and CEO of Geriatrics Incorporated. Dr. Canterbury, great to have you with us.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
So first, let's talk about the documentary. Who's Mama Joe and what inspired this work?
Absolutely. Mama Joe is the maternal matriarch for Dr. Herbert Caldwell, who's the producer of the film. And she unfortunately befalls Alzheimer's. And so the family dynamic shifts. And so now they're figuring out, how do we look at caregiving, not only as a Black family, but with a pretty debilitating disease. So Mama Joe's been an influence. I feel we all have someone at home that can relate to this, but it's an inspiration of hope on how we can fight back against this system we have.
And this is the first time that this documentary is being shown in North Carolina, and it will be in Durham tomorrow. The number of Americans living with Alzheimer's, it's growing and growing quickly. What else do we know about who is getting diagnosed and who's most at risk of getting diagnosed?
Yes, the numbers are indeed growing, and yet African Americans, it may occur even double than our white counterparts, but they still have less access to resources to screen for them. So we have a huge gap, not just from the medical standpoint, but bringing community resources, community needs, and even addressing the caregiving emotional toll it comes with taking care of those with dementia.
We want to let people know they're not alone in this journey, and there are resources out there. Tomorrow afternoon, there's an event taking place in Durham, and the resources that will be available. Tell us about that event.
Yes, so we're going to not only have an amazing vendor fair with aging-friendly experts, dementia-friendly experts, we'll also have Teepa Snow, who's a legendary trainer for coaching around caregiving with dementia, along with Dr. Glickman, local neurologist, who can give you wonderful tips around brain health, and of course, knowing who's in your backyard that can actually navigate this with you. We don't want you to do this alone.
And caregiving is such an important piece of this. What would you like caregivers to know on this journey as they are navigating this with people who are living with Alzheimer's?
Oftentimes, we just suck it up and do, but we cannot do this alone. We don't even know how to call ourselves caregivers. So see it as a way to ask for help, find the resources, know who's in your community, and know that people are out there who love this type of work, who can help you along the journey, so you're not just doing this in a silo.
And I can only imagine it's hard for caregivers to step away, but please try and see if you can step away tomorrow afternoon to attend this, the Mama Joe Project Community Engagement Forum. It will be at the Durham Arts Council's PSI Theater. Doors open at 1. It goes from 2 to 4 o'clock. Scan the QR code on your screen. You can register for this free and informative event for caregivers and family members navigating dementia. It is open to all ages, so if you want to bring the kids, you can. Dr. Canterbury, thank you so much for talking with us, and best wishes for the event. We know it will be connecting a lot of people and letting them know that they're not alone in this journey.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Chris?
There's help out there for you. Hopefully people take advantage of that. Well, so right now we're looking at why today is another WRAL weather alert day. It's kind of a 1-2, right? It's obviously hot, but there's also a chance for things to kind of intensify later storm-wise.
Right, and visible satellite imagery really kind of helps tell the story. In the darker areas, that's where we have the sun, very hot in those locations. And then we're watching the mountains where we're starting to see more cumulus clouds build. And so we'll start to see thunderstorms develop as we continue to progress through the next couple of hours. And those storms that develop to the west are going to move to the east and impact us during the evening commute. So here's a look at the timeline locally. Anywhere from about 3 to 6 p.m. in our western counties when those storms will arrive. By the time we get to 4 to 6 p.m. or maybe 7 p.m. in some spots, we'll start to see some storms in the center part of our viewing area. And then our eastern counties will be the last to see the rain arrive between 6 and 8 o'clock this evening. And with any storms that develop today, we could see some strong damaging wind gusts. We do have a level 1 threat today, and we also have a level 1 severe threat for tomorrow. And tomorrow, again, the threat will be some strong damaging wind gusts. Hour by hour for the weekend. So mostly we're dry in the morning on Saturday, although I do think we could see some showers prior to sunrise. And then we'll get a little bit of a break, and then rain chances start to go up as we head into the afternoon and evening. On Sunday, it's really any point in time that we could see some of these scattered showers and storms, but our best opportunity will be the second half of our day when we have about a 50 to 60% chance. The rain over the last 7 days. So if you are in one of the areas that has some of that red color or purple color, you've had 3 to 4 inches. If you're in a blue area, you've had up to about an inch, and the green area is anywhere from a trace to a quarter of an inch. But in these pockets where we've had some heavy rain, if we start to see some heavy rain in those locations through the weekend, we could have additional flooding. Today, the flood risk is mainly over western North Carolina. That got pushed back to the west. If you were watching Grant this morning, our area was in that low risk for flooding. Well, that's been pushed back to the west. Tomorrow, we have a low end risk for some flooding with the storms that roll in. So just keep that in mind. July rainfall, we've really started to see some decent rain in Raleigh, over 4 inches, which puts us at a surplus at about 3 inches. Fayetteville, not so much. You've had about 3/10 with a deficit at about an inch. A live look at Raleigh right now. This view from the Weld, you can see some of those clouds developing, but it is hot outside. We're in the 90s. 93 in Fayetteville. It's 90 right now in Rocky Mount. It's going to be hot today, 99 for the high temperature. It's going to be hot for most of us. And then by the time we get to Sunday, look at that. The temperature drops 86 for the high. Still a little bit of a heat index, but Monday, that is the day to get outdoors. 86 for the high and not much of a heat index either. And that's because of the front that's going to move through. So hot today with some storms later today, unsettled this weekend, and turning cooler by Monday. We'll be right back with your top stories.
Well, as we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines that we're following for today. Hundreds of thousands of state employees and retirees are expected to face higher health insurance costs. The State Health Plan Board just voted to raise premiums, and they will go up 5% beginning in 2027. For many people, that will mean an extra $2 to $8 a month. And the board also approved a new preferred provider program. That could help members save money in the long run, but some might have to change doctors. You can read more on the changes over at WRAL.com.
It's been nearly 2 weeks since a Fort Bragg soldier disappeared. Savion Anderson's family last heard from him June 27th. His mother is now desperate to find out what happened to her son, who recently got married, and his wife is pregnant with their first child. Anderson is a specialist assigned to the 8th Ordnance Company. His Fort Bragg command tells WRAL it is working with local law enforcement to try and locate him.
NASCAR will honor racing legend Kyle Busch during a public memorial. That is set for October 9th at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Busch's death in May, it stunned the NASCAR world and fans too. The 41-year-old died suddenly from severe pneumonia that progressed into sepsis. And the celebration of life will be free and open to the public.
A Tennessee woman is taking a unique approach to encourage love and kindness. Paula Muina stands in a tourist-heavy area of Chattanooga almost every day, dressed as the Statue of Liberty. She waves to drivers, to people walking by. Some even honk or stop to talk to her to express their appreciation. Her signs point to biblical messages such as love thy neighbor, and other signs include united we stand, divided we fall.
Amazing. Do you know it's like 80-something degrees out there right now, though? Good stuff, though.
What do you get when you combine rock and roll and guacamole? It is the name of our pet of the day from the SPCA of Wake County, Rockamole. This 7-year-old guy weighs in at 60 pounds. He loves belly rubs, would choose snuggles over treats any day. Rockamole has the fastest, happiest, wagging tail we have ever seen. Sadly, his owner died unexpectedly in a car crash, and now he is looking for someone new to love him. He's great with other dogs, cats, and kids. So if you're interested in Rockamole, now's the time to contact the SPCA of Wake County. Today, by the way, is the last day that you can adopt a pet for half off the fee.
All right, we're getting you an update on that night of violence, weekend of violence, actually, in the city of Raleigh, as the city's preparing for its first weekend since giant crowds led to several shootings and some violence. Well, today on WRAL News at 4, we talk with city leaders and local businesses about what they're doing to prevent any future issues.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next locals update in 30 minutes.
Of course.